On this channel, we're often doing probably something that you might consider a main dish, something you'd have in the middle of a table and share for dinner, but Asian cooking is not really about that. Asian cooking is more about having lots of smaller plates that you can graze across. So this year on the channel, we're gonna do a lot more maybe small plates, maybe side dishes or vegetable dishes that you might call them, but stuff that you can serve alongside with your main dishes, because that really does get to the heart of Asian cooking, whether it's Chinese or Japanese or Vietnamese or Thai, whatever it happens to be. Today I'm gonna show you one of my favorite tofu dishes, probably the most popular tofu dish that we have at our house and probably a lot of Asian households as well. It's tofu with soy sauce, onion, and garlic. If you're kind of new to tofu or you don't know if you like it or not, this is the dish that I would serve you to change your mind. You know, a lot of people like Japanese style agadashi tofu, that kind of thing, but it's probably a little more complicated than you want to make most nights for dinner. This, however, is what a Chinese family would put on a table with 5 minutes notice, you know, to have an extra dish, a vegetarian dish that you can share with other meat dishes and that kind of thing. Super, super simple. Literally, you can make it in 5 minutes. So let's get started. Silken tofu. There's lots of different types of tofu, and even from brand to brand, the texture can vary. It essentially just varies on how firm the texture is. You know, we're not getting into your fried tofus or your marinated tofus, that kind of thing. When you buy tofu in a pack like this, silken, softer, you know, firmer tofus, sometimes very firm tofus on the firmest side of the spectrum. Generally, you want to use a soft tofu for this because we're not going to cook it. Sometimes you can steam this dish, but most of the time I prefer to have it raw, chilled out of the fridge. And all we have to do first is just peel back and open the pack. Now you can see a little bit of liquid on the top here. Silken tofu quite often will be set in the container that you buy it in, and it has a little bit too much liquid to it. So it can be hard to deal with silken tofu because it is so delicate, but what I like to do is just get rid of a little bit of that extra moisture. Touch of paper towel, just turn it over, and I'll just let that sit for 5 minutes. Still in the packet. I don't want to turn it out of the packet just yet because we just want to take away the excess moisture. The excess moisture will obviously make it taste a bit watery, so by doing this, we can kind of concentrate the flavor just a little bit. The rest of the ingredients are these: onion, garlic, a bit of spring onion, soy sauce, oil, and just a touch of sugar. You don't even need it, but I like just a touch of sugar with this. First things first, I'll chop my onion. I probably only need half of this. And I want to cut it into, I guess, a fine dice, you would call it. Got a few cloves of garlic here, just roughly chop those. The garlic and onion I can put together because we're going to cook those both at the same time. Now for the spring onion, I've got 2 here, but probably I really only need 1. But I'll cut it anyway. All right, now we're probably ready to cook. I'll take my onion, my oil, my soy sauce, and my sugar, and we'll head to the stove. Now, the way this dish works is essentially a cold tofu dish. The tofu is cold. Like I said before, you can steam it if you want to, but I prefer it to be cold. And then we top that with, I guess, an infused oil, garlic and onion fried and infused into oil, a bit of soy sauce, and just a touch of sugar. So that's the process we're doing now. Oil goes into the pot. Quite generous with it because we are trying to infuse the oil. Here, we're not just about frying the garlic and onion. Keep the heat quite low for this, you know, like low to medium heat, because you don't want the garlic and onion to brown and burn too fast. If we can get the garlic to just turn a nice deep brown within about 5 minutes, that's the kind of heat you should be looking for. The garlic and onion in. Now when the garlic and onion is looking pretty much like this, in with our soy sauce, pinch of sugar, and that's it, it's done. Okay, now after 5 minutes or so, our tofu looks pretty good. And you can see here kind of how much moisture has come out of it. You can squeeze a couple of drops out of there, no problem. So serving plate, and just invert the tofu. Give it a little squeeze so it comes out. A nice shape. Actually, you know, drying it a little bit, absorbing a little bit of that moisture actually shrinks the tofu just slightly and helps it come out of the packet a little bit easier. Straight on top with our garlic and onion oil and the soy sauce. Just a touch of spring onion for garnish at the end. And that's it. A 5-minute side dish that's going to convert anyone to eating tofu. Chilled tofu with garlic, onion, and soy sauce.